We will start this video by editing an 8-ounce bag of mozzarella into a blender cup. If you enjoyed that edit, give this video a like and subscribe. You also need 2 ounces of cream cheese to add to your cheese. A couple of huevos, battle them to the death to see who the superior egg is. Then sacrifice the winner to the pizza gods for this year's pizza harvest. Season this with a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. You also need a half teaspoon of You also need a half teaspoon of baking powder. Blend this on low for about 1 minute. Scrape down the sides and blend again until you end up with a cottage cheese kind of substance. Or would this be a custard? Custard cheese. Since this is Chipotle chicken, grab a can of Chipotles and adobo sauce. If you can't tolerate this, skip this step. You can buy adobo sauce, or make your own for that matter, by itself, but it's much better this way because you also get some tasty Chipotles to work with. Dump your can of chilies into a mesh strainer that's got a bowl under it and begin to separate the adobo sauce from the Chipotles. Just push and mash until you have about a tablespoon of the sauce. Now, pour your chilies onto a cutting board and give them a rough chop. In a bowl, add in 3 tablespoons of sour cream, along with 1 tablespoon of your rough chopped Chipotles, 1 teaspoon of lime juice, and a pinch of salt. Give this a mix with a spoon and set aside. Let's move on over to the oven. Grab a nonstick pan and about 1 pound of ground chicken. You only need about 4 ounces of this for the pizza, so feel free to separate it that way if you want to. Throw this into your pan along with all of your adobo sauce and set to medium-high heat. Sprinkle all this with about a half teaspoon of the best salt. Use the code TRASHCHEESE at redmond.life to save 15% off your order and to support the channel. Drain this and set aside. Wipe out and cool off your nonstick pan and place all of your custard cheese into it. Feel free to use a bigger pan if you want a thinner crust. This will melt down and form into a circle, so you can skip the step where I'm thinning it out if you want to. Place the heat to low and let cook for about 5 minutes. It'll actually resemble a pancake this time, just based on the color and how it's bubbling. Be careful when lifting it up to check, but it should look a little something like this. Once it does, sprinkle over your ground chicken along with a tiny bit of optional cheddar cheese. Place this into a broiler for about 5 minutes to brown the top of the crust. The broiler I used isn't ideal because it gets super hot on one side. Anyways, here's the hard part of the recipe. Let this cool for a couple of minutes and carefully lift the pizza out of the pan. Feel free to cut yours in the pan if you have a plastic pizza cutter. This will make it a lot easier to get out. But if you want a nice picture of it out of the pan, carefully raise it out. Top this with the dollops of your Chipotle sauce. Then sprinkle on some of your optional green onions. Slice this up and enjoy. This bite's for my Patreon community. Thank y'all so much. And this is honestly the closest I've come to a crust with a bread texture. The only thing I need to figure out is how to get it crispy. So on the next episode of Carnivore Pizza, we'll figure that out.